Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome along to the Royal Link Up podcast. We are on episode 18, quickly heading towards episode 20. I am one of your hosts, the amazing Sniper Beef. I'm joined alongside.
Hi guys, Devastate here, and welcome back to the Roaring Cup podcast. Hopefully, got a jam-packed show for you. Plenty of gaming news, plenty of other interesting news, not necessarily gaming, but in the gaming space. And we're going to cover all of that and a lot more for today. But we have another special guest joining us back for his second time. I just want to introduce Vedak. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Welcome. 18 episodes. Slap my ass and call me Betty.
Yeah, who'd have thought that we got there, eh?
Yeah, tell me about it. Tell me about it. But for those of you who aren't au fait with what the Link Up is, I'll give you a quick rundown. So the Link Up is a group of friends, the three of us plus another about 15 others. And for the last 26 years, we have taken our PCs, our desks, and our chairs round to one of our houses, and we've played PC games for an entire week and ordered takeaway for an entire week. It's probably one of the best weeks of the year in all of our views, and we absolutely love it. And this year we've decided to launch a podcast to talk about everything gaming and anything to do with the Link Up as well. And obviously in the run up to the Link Up next year, we'll be talking very much about the Link Up as well. So yes, welcome along to episode 18. As Devastate said, we've got a jam-packed agenda today, and I think we'll kick off at the top of the board with the PlayStation Pro. The launch day has been announced. The launch price has been announced. There's a lot of interesting faces on the podcast this evening when we started talking about that. But yeah, first of all, the price £699. I mean, I'm going to want a little bit more than just a console, but you don't get a disc drive. No, you don't get a disc drive with £699. You have to purchase that separately. So if you've got physical media, if you've gone and bought GTA 5 on disc, or you've got some of your other games on disc and you want to play them again and continue to play them on your PS5 Pro, you've got to go and buy the disc drive. I haven't actually looked. Do we know how much that is? How much the disc drive is separately? I'm going to guess probably 60 to 100 quid at a guess.
I didn't
Something
even
like
know. I had no idea that there was even a third party mechanical
No,
drive available for it.
no. It's I think it's the official one that you can buy. I presume so.
I mean, this could be £800.
Yeah. Oh,
With
comfortably.
That's ridiculous.
Comfortably. And it's like,
mortgage my house.
yeah, and like 800 quid, you're like, okay, now you're getting into the realms of being able to buy a reasonable PC that could quite comfortably do 1080p gaming. And what's the step up from the normal PS5? From the looks of it, just a bit better graphics, bit of DLSS, bit of more ray tracing, etc. Is it going to be justifiable? I don't think so. If it is it going to be the equivalent of going from like a 2060 to a 4080? Absolutely not. In terms of graphics cards, are people going to buy it? Probably, because it's a PlayStation and the world and his wife buy it. Are people going to be buying it and then reselling it? I can absolutely guarantee that will be happening as well. Particularly given the release date and time frame. It's releasing on the November the 7th, 3 weeks before Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So all the parents around the world are going to be looking to buy it for their kids for Christmas, and no one's going to be able to get any stock. And it'll probably I
On that
wouldn't.
purpose.
Yeah,
Oh,
probably.
it's
But,
Christmas running. Yeah.
yeah, of course it is. Like, but do you reckon there's going to be a scenario where you're seeing people reselling them and they're reselling them at four figures?
Oh, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it'll be tight, but it'll
don't
definitely be
think-
over.
I
Definitely
don't think it
overs.
will sell.
Really?
I don't
Oh, no,
think.
it will.
No, I think that because what it will do is I think that it will organically trigger the PlayStation 5 normal to go down in price, and those who haven't got a PlayStation 5 will pick that up at that point.
Well,
It's-
interesting on that point, Devastate. PlayStation are now going to start selling refurbished PlayStation 5s if you can't afford the PlayStation 5 Pro.
Yeah, so I think that the economy's still tough for a lot of people, and
Yeah.
I think that there is going to be way too many people that have still got a PS4. That this is probably going to be their earliest opportunity to move into PS5 at a cheaper price. But no one it's not a generational difference.
No, it's not.
So-
It's not a huge shift, is it?
If this was PlayStation 6 we were talking about, and it's a generational difference in CPU, in RAM, in GPU performance, get it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
not a 1.5 upgrade
Yeah.
in terms of... And here's the thing. Here's the biggest bugbear for me. There aren't any games out for it. So you've
specifically
got
for it.
that are specifically for it. Now
Yeah.
you've got some games that have got an upgraded version. So Hogwarts Legacy, they showed some great demos, looked fantastic.
Yep.
So if you've already got that game, good. But there's only about 4 or 5 games that are really built to utilize the DLSS and the ray tracing functionality. And for anyone who doesn't know what ray tracing is advanced lighting shaders used. It's what Nvidia have used on their RTX. That's why it's R. It's R for ray tracing. RTX graphics cards have done for the last couple of generations. I think that it would be, unless you can afford it, you don't care about the money. It's just a bit of spare cash. You want to do the upgrade, trade in your old one and upgrade. But the value proposition is not there for me.
Yeah, or you're a PlayStation fanboy, and you have to have it. Like I like the new iPhone, which I mean, let's not even talk about the new iPhone. Yeah, go on, Vedak.
Do you think the digital edition would drop in price? Because that's what, like $399 now, isn't it, or something like that? Do you think that would then they drop that? Because that was the cheap option.
I don't know if it would drop in price, but I think the sales of it might pick up because I mean, if I'm not in the PlayStation market, so I don't have a PlayStation. Would I go out and buy the PS5 Pro over a normal PS5? Absolutely not. Not in a million years would I do it. Because as Devastate said, it's like a 1.5, isn't it? It's not like going from 1080p to 1440p, which is a marked difference. It's like going from 1080p to 1080i to 1080p, essentially, wouldn't it? Where you can mildly notice a difference, and no one's going to go, "Oh yeah, I definitely want to upgrade my PS5 to a PS5 Pro just to get that minute fraction of a difference." When you're going to be spending. Because if you've got a PS5 now, I don't know what the used market looks like for a PS5. Probably a couple £100, £200-300, I would guess. You then, if you sell it, you've then got to spunk out another £500 to go and buy, or £300-400 to go and buy the new one. Can't see it happening, to be honest. But the only market I see it for is people who aren't in the PlayStation arena currently, who don't know the difference between the PS5 and the PS5 Pro, and they're just seeing it as, oh, it's the new console, I've got to get it. Should we say I don't want to say the uneducated, but the less educated folk that aren't huge gaming nerds like we are. Do you think so?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yes, and the fact that you've got to buy the disc drive just to run your old games is honestly just like, come on. I mean, at least give them enough hard drive space that they could at least download them into the cloud and then put it onto their own PS5 Pro. But the fact that if like someone's got 5-6 games on disc, they can't play them without buying the disc drive is honestly, it's just a cash grab, isn't it? It's like the when iPhone went with the lightning cable and you have to buy the lightning cable for it to charge, and you're like, nah, absolutely not. Devastate, anything else on the PS5 you want to touch on?
No, I mean, I think that you're right. People will buy it. I just say I personally don't really see the value proposition of it.
Have you got a PlayStation?
No.
No, you got Xbox, haven't you?
No, I don't even have that. A PC game only now. So over the years I've gone from various. I've had what we're going to cover it's a great segue. I've had everything. So I've had everything. So I've had a NES, I've had a PlayStation, I've had a PlayStation 2, an Xbox 360, an Xbox One. I've had a PS3. Xbox 360. I've had a few consoles over the years.
I started with the Atari 2600.
Yeah, but you were born in the year 4300 BC. So
Back in the early 80s, I would have said that would be.
So the Atari, so that's on my list. So the Atari 26 came out in 1977.
Oh, yeah,
So, but that was around for a long time. But what we're going to do is we're going to play a little quiz. So I've got some popular consoles. They'll come out over the time. So I'm going to give you their. I'm going to give you the name of the console, and I want you to tell me how much money it launched for at the time.
Right, in pounds.
In pounds, and then what I'm going to do is tell you what that is with inflation.
Adjusted for inflation, okay.
Because I think that's a balanced argument. It's like, look, prices have gone up and down in the components and stuff, and obviously this is an expensive unit.
Back in the 70s, £200 was a lot of money. You know,
so I'll give you the spoiler that the Atari 2600.
It's got to be about 300 quid, I reckon.
It launched at £199. But adjusted for inflation,
it'll be £2,000.
Is £1,200.
It's ridiculous.
Slightly above. So these inflation numbers are about 2 years old, but I've got the thing. Okay,
it's still relevant.
It's still relevant. So in 1986, the NES was launched. How much money do we reckon the NES was in 1986?
$119.99.
I reckon it's another couple £100. I reckon.
Well, interestingly, it was $149.95. So it's probably $200.
A lot of money.
Probably $200.
Yeah,
well,
$200.
So I had this console, and
I've still got it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that if I got it, I had it with Duck Hunt and Super Mario.
And the light gun.
And the light gun. And I think that might have been about £200. I'll tell you, it's funny going back. You ever look at old Argos catalogue pictures of games.
Little segue for you, Devastate. Do you know what I saw on TikTok this week? So just talking about the Argos catalogue, Smith's Toy Store are bringing out a 300-page catalogue for Christmas, and I was like, "Oh, can you imagine kids getting their hands on that?"
The Argos books.
It was literally. I remember, all kids remember the Argos catalogue when we were younger, and the Toys R Us catalogue as well. And you'd be like, I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that, circle it. And then, oh, I'm getting this for Christmas, Oh, I got it. And just looking at all, and then, as a parent, like now, I look at it and go, oh, God, I couldn't think of anything worse. Please, no. If my kids get a hold of that, they go, all right, I want a PS5 Pro, I want the Xbox One X, I want the new Switch when that ever comes out. And yeah.
No,
anyway,
just
little segue.
Just give it to them and tell them you can't have anything, but this is just cool for you to look at. Just give it to them and say, I want you to read every page.
Okay. But at the moment, they're like, Daddy, I got £60 for my birthday. Can I go into Smith's Toy Store and buy £60 worth of Lego? And I'm like, it's not a lot. Like, if you're going to go buy the Millennium Falcon, it's what, 600 quid, isn't it? You want a Millennium Falcon. I was like, yeah, save your money up for a Millennium Falcon, then we can build that together. It might take us 2 years, but that's what you need to be aiming for.
You can buy the radar dish.
Yeah. Right, so the NES launched in 1986. So you went for
119.99, 120,
and 120, and Vedak went for
200.
200. So at least 149.
Yeah, 149. Yeah,
which adjusted for inflation is 442.
I mean, I'd argue that's like for what it was then. Like I remember, I've still got it. Honestly, some of the best gaming times of my life. Like I remember playing it with my friends, round my friend's house when they had one, and honestly, it was just like, oh my, like Duck Hunt, Mario, oh my days. Some of it was just absolutely incredible.
Now, there's a couple of things on here. I'm going to start off. So in 1990, the Game Boy came out. Original
That
Game Boy.
was $69.99 or $79.99, I think, from memory.
I bought one from like an online. Well, not online. It was like an advert.
Mail order.
An advert in a paper for someone selling it, and he brought it over. And it came. I had about 6 or 7 games, and I reckon it was about 80 quid. That's with 6 or 7 games, so it's got to be close to that sort of price.
Yeah, so 6 Beefy is almost spot on to the penny. 69.95.
Always right.
Adjusted for inflation, £160. Does that not sound like the biggest value proposition you've ever heard in gaming?
Yeah.
And I've still got both of my Game Boys, my original ones.
So in 1989, I was literally going to college.
No, you weren't. You were born in the 4,300 BC.
Yeah.
Right. I was going back to college then.
I'm gonna
What's
throw
the internet?
So I'm gonna go back a couple of years, but I'm doing 2 together. So in 1987, the Master System was released, and in 1990, the Mega Drive was released. So can you guess the Master System price and the Mega Drive price?
I'm gonna go. Master System would have been about 140, and then Mega Drive was about 230.
I reckon about 180 for both.
So really interesting. The Master System was £99.
Oh, value.
And the Mega Drive was 190.
Jesus Christ!
So it was double the price for the Mega Drive.
In a short space of time.
So the Mega Drive, though, great console. I had it. 430 adjusted for inflation. Again, I think it still holds up. Now,
I think the Mega Drive a lot more value than the Master System for me. Like, I had both, but I definitely played the Mega Drive way more. Like, way more.
I'm going to throw in a concept that not everyone knows. In 1993, Panasonic released a console called the 3DO.
3DO, what a pile of crap that was! I was working a Christmas job at the time. Dixon's, remember Dixon's?
Dixon's. Back in the day.
I was working in a store, and they had that thing, and I was thinking, oh my god, look at the game! It's like there was a Philips system out at the same sort of time. It wasn't there. It was its competitor.
Philips. Sorry, I didn't know that. Philips released a gaming system.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called.
The front door.
If I remember correctly, so I think the Philips system was built in conjunction with it never released properly, but I think it was built with Nintendo to be Nintendo's first thing, and then Nintendo rejected them, and then there was something going on with PlayStation because then it caused the actual PlayStation release. There was something going on because of how CDs were being constructed. I think that there's something in that Philips games console that like bonds were broken, and there's like a big loyalty thing. We might do a big delve into like the history of that on the podcast at a later date.
Philips Gaming. What was it called?
I can't remember. It had like almost like motion capture. Like, for example, there was a golf game, and there was like a motion capture golfer over a obviously digital golf course.
Yeah.
And it would.
It was almost like a video. It was almost like a capture video greens, and it was just greens, and you press it, and he'd just play the shot. Literally.
Wow.
Yeah, I do remember that. Okay, so Panasonic 3DO, absolutely terrible. 1993.
It was really expensive. I remember that. Like, really, at the time, people were like, "I'm not spending." I reckon it's probably like 700 quid, 600 or 700 quid.
I'm gonna go 350.
It's way more than that. It was really expensive.
£600.
Yeah.
And adjusted for inflation, 1,230. So it's almost the most expensive console of all time. But bearing in mind that that came out 15 to 16 years after the Atari, I think it steals the mantle as the worst, most expensive games console of all time.
That no one's ever heard of.
Yeah. We got some really interesting ones. I don't want to spend all day going through all of them. Would quickly, because we've obviously speaking about in the early part about this episode, speaking about PlayStation. So, how much was PlayStation 1, do we think? Came out in 95.
I think it was. It was about
it was 299.
249 or 299.
I'm always right. Always right.
299. The PlayStation 2 that came out 5 years later.
Now that I think that was £100 more.
Oh yeah, I want to say 499.
No, I think it was £100 more.
I think 499.
So my report says 299 again.
Oh, really?
Why would they?
The interesting thing is then in 2007 when the PlayStation 3 came out.
Yeah, now that was the one maybe then that had a big jump.
Yeah. What I will do is I just want to just touch on PlayStation. We didn't speak about it in the earlier bit. But you got to think about PlayStations of the older ones always had an additional value proposition. So they weren't just games consoles. First one came out, was a disc. It played music. PlayStation 2 came out. Everyone went to buy it. It was a DVD player. And DVD players were 150 quid at the time.
Yeah.
So PlayStation 3 came out. It was a Blu-ray player, and Blu-ray players were 150 quid at the time. So if you think about these, they weren't just the games. People were buying them for multifunctional use.
PlayStation 1 discs, weren't they black on one side?
Yeah, I believe they were.
Yeah.
Well, didn't they have? They just had the sticker on like one side, didn't they? I don't recall them being black.
Yeah, they were. I'm pretty sure the disc was like it wasn't like a normal. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it was.
Because I had a PS1. I didn't have a PS2.
Yeah, the PS.
But yeah, let's go 2007 to PlayStation 3.
499.
Yeah, I reckon 499.
499.
So I think you are getting yourselves ahead on these prices. So it launched UK at 425.
Oh, not a million miles off.
425. That's a really unusual price for you.
I'm going to cycle in because I missed a couple of the Xboxes, but I'm only going to
Xbox.
The original.
And the Dreamcast. Don't forget that bad boy.
So the Dreamcast came out in
GameCube.
We can keep doing these. I'm going to chuck in something actually. So in 2001, the Nintendo Game Boy Advance came out, which was the handed, they had a bit on the sides. How much do we think in 2001 the Game Boy Advance was?
100 quid.
I'd say 149.
Now, I brought this. I paid a little over this price for it, but it had...
What for curries, didn't you?
£55. I remember spending 70 quid with 3 games in the case and a battery.
Wow, that's value.
It was so cheap. It was one of the cheapest things ever. And just for inflation, it's still under 100 quid.
I mean, that is some value.
How much is the Nintendo 64? Because that's probably one of my most favourite.
Nintendo 64 came out in 1996. It was £250 launch price.
GoldenEye.
Yeah.
GoldenEye. Oh, what a game. In GoldenEye, what was the mode where you could make everyone's head really fat and then it was really easy to shoot? What was it called?
I don't know, big head mode. But you could remember there was a golden gun mode as well.
Oh,
one shot, one kill. And if you played Odd Job, he was slightly shorter than everyone else. It's hard to do it. Just man karate chopping people.
Like people don't realise how good GoldenEye was on the N64. Honestly, like all of us, I think anyone of our age who have been gamers as long as we have, spent months of their lives playing that game. Like,
Mario Kart
yeah,
64.
yeah. But I was like GoldenEye. The amount of times you play it on split screen with your friends and get your friends round, like so much of that, and it was just absolutely fantastic.
But do not. That was when you did 4-player split screen, but you were playing it on a 17-inch monitor, so you're effectively playing it on the size of a Game Boy screen.
Yeah, and like my kids now are complaining that oh no, I don't want to go and play on a 42-inch screen, and I'm like, mate, you're dreaming with a 42-inch screen. Like, remember like back in the old days at the Link Up when we had like 15-inch CRTs.
Or the odd person who bring up a 20-inch CRT and you needed a crane to get it into the house.
Oh,
Yeah, because man like Adrian I think he had a 21-inch CRT, and honestly, it took 2 people to lift it. It was so big.
yeah. Okay, well, we're going to go back. I think you might have missed some of this, Beef. So we were talking that essentially the PlayStation Pro was the most expensive console that ever released at its time.
Yeah,
PlayStation Pro. But what we're going to do is we're going to go through inflation. And there are only 4 consoles that have ever been released that, adjusted for inflation, are more expensive than the PlayStation Pro. So, as we touched on earlier, the Panasonic 3DO was just over £1,200.
Yeah.
The Atari 2600 was £1,200. The Sega Saturn, adjusted for inflation, it launched
what a pile of shit.
In 1995, it launched at £400, and it, with inflation, £772.
Oh, that thing was so bad. It was so bad.
The only thing that Sega Saturn had, I remember, was that turbo bass fishing, where you actually had the actual. You could actually reel it.
That came out of the Dreamcast as well, though. That was
And so the last one is a challenge because I've never heard of this one.
What? Games console?
This game's console. No, I know that one. So this console was released in 1990. And it cost in
The Neo Geo?
No. It is called the TurboGrafx FX.
Nah, the Neo Geo is more than that because it was so expensive and so rare.
The TurboGrafx was £400 at launch in 1990. And just for inflation, it's £913.
Check the Neo Geo price. Look that up quickly.
What on earth is a Neo? What is a Neo Geo?
It was. It used to port like arcade machines, really high quality ports from arcade machines. It was a Japanese console. It was very, very good at this time.
One cartridge-based arcade system.
700 quid, 600 quid. It's got to be, and I reckon inflation it'd be over £1,000.
Yeah, when it launched in '99, it says it's saying $650. So what's that? It's like 500.
Is that even a? Can you classify that as a console?
Yeah.
Pretty big, isn't it?
It's a console. You plug it into your telly. Isn't that the definition?
Oh yeah, it looks weird. Oh, that is really. Oh, that is tragic.
Okay. Oh. No,
I remember this. My mate had one, and he was the envy of everybody.
My word! Look at it. The joypad is nearly as big as the console.
Oh yeah, they are massive joypads. They really, and I think you could only plug 2 in. They couldn't put anything else.
Yeah,
in
there's only two ports on the front.
So this is really interesting. According to an article I'm reading, the home system was only available to rent to commercial establishments when customer response indicated that some gamers were willing to buy the $650 console. They basically pushed it into the home console market.
Wow, that's unreal. It's like when you see have you ever seen that episode of is it Pawnbrokers in the US where the guy took in the first like test copy of Super Mario, and and it's still in its case. It's like mint condition for the age that it was, and he wanted £1 million for it because it was basically a game that went to the market as a test, but they don't know how many units actually went out. But it's the only one still technically in existence that's known of, and the guy wanted £1 million for it, and I was just like, wow, like just wow.
So the other unit I was looking at, which is this thing called the TurboGrafx 16. I mean, it done millions in sales.
I've never heard of it.
I've never heard of it. I think it was released in the UK in '89. It did total versions of it. Did 7 million in sales. It was made by NEC, interestingly.
NEC.
But yeah, it's there's that little
name.
console.
TurboGrafx 16. Who came up with that name?
Oh, it's so bad. But okay, but I think we can universally proclaim the Game Boy Advance as the best value console of all time.
Just quickly on that TurboGrafx 16, just had a quick look on eBay. There's one listed for £500, and there's 13 people watching it.
I mean, that's a bargain because adjusted for inflation, it actually should be worth £913. Buy it; it's an absolute deal. No, only joking. That was interesting. Good chat. I thought they. I mean, ultimately we moved there from the PlayStation chat.
Yeah.
But that is why a £700 console is wild.
Yeah.
And it is like beyond anything that we've seen. Nothing has come close.
And I think particularly now that obviously PC gaming is so prominent, and for like 700, I mean, with the disc drive, it's going to be £800-900, isn't it? You could get a very, very comfortably good 1080p gaming PC with a monitor as well, and you'd be probably on par from a graphics perspective. And like, would you do that?
No.
I'd probably go PC over that every day.
Yeah, because in a year's time you can put a better graphic card in it when you've got a bit more cash, if you want a budget.
Exactly. You can trade it in. Anyway, moving on. Vedak wanted to have a little chat about Sins.
Yep, been playing it for the last week. Excellent. Definitely, it is a change, like Devastate said, from the beta, so that was good. But what I was really interested in is at the moment until the 15th of this month, if you go to Sins of the Solar's Empire's website and you have it on Epic, you can pop in your Epic ID along with your email, and they will give you a Steam key for free.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
That is epic.
That is epic because I bought it on Epic when it first came out. Because I was like, I'm absolutely buying this. Oh right, I need to make a note of that.
What we'll do is we'll drop the link in the description below for everyone to go and check out. And
it's only until the 15th. So don't mess around.
End of this week.
Yeah. Awesome.
No, that's good. That's good. I still haven't played it since the link. I've just had no time, but hopefully now, although I can't play it this weekend, doing kid shit again, I will play it in the next couple of weeks. Actually, no, we can't because it's it's your birthday weekend, the following weekend, isn't it? Devastate.
It is, yes.
And we'll be out for that. But no, I will be playing Sins because I definitely want to get involved in it.
Yeah. I'll be gaming a lot more.
It'd be really interesting to. Sorry.
No, okay. I'll be gaming a lot more from sort of next weekend anyway. So I've got some private work that's going to be finishing off, and so I'm going to have a lot more free time to be able to. I'll be returning to streaming on Friday the 20th. And that is for the FC25 launch.
FC25, yeah.
But then beyond that, I'll be streaming all the time. So I'll be streaming at least a couple of days a week. But yeah,
Nice.
moving back to Sins, that will allow that we can actually get a Sins game, and I can stream that as well.
Nice. Vedak, Civ 7.
Yeah, it's just got its release day about a month ago, and it's slowly being drip fed to us. But February the 11th, if you pre-order either the Deluxe or the Ultimate Pack, you'll get 5 days or 6 days of early access. 5 days of early access
Right,
available
so
on the
hang on.
6th.
Right, what's the price over the normal price for that? It's 5 to 6 days early access.
Well, you also get future expansion packs. But
Future expansion pack.
It is a whopper of £120.
I mean, right, just pass me the bin. Just pass me the bin. Like £120 to get an expansion pack and a couple of days access early.
How much space game?
It will be all expansion packs, and that's probably 2, maybe 3.
How many? How much is the base game?
£50.
£70 more. So it's another game for basically 2 DLCs, and you get it to play it 5-6 days early.
But the Ultimate Pack of Sins was 90.
I'm gonna I feel like I'm being bent over here, metaphorically, physically, and mentally here. How? Who goes? I know. Let's put the base price at 50, and our DLC is going to be twice that, plus nearly 50% more, and they're going to get 2 DLCs, and they can play a little bit early. I know that's a great idea. I mean, first of all, are you buying that?
Yeah.
And that's why they do it. That is exactly why they do it. We can't change companies' minds if people are so willing to do it.
Civilization is absolutely. I mean, every one of them has just been fantastic. Civ 6 was great. Civ 5 was probably, in my opinion, the best. Maybe Civ 4, but Civ 6 was still great. Civ 7, I can't wait.
Absolutely. And just a bit of background on the Civ games. We've played quite a lot of them at the link ups, and I don't ever remember finishing a single game.
That's because you're rubbish.
No, that's just because I win all the time. I'm just so far ahead that everyone else just gives up. But I mean, there's no way I am paying £120 for a game that gives you 2 extra DLCs, which is twice the game's price, whatever game it is. Are
those DLCs out at the time?
No, but this is the same as Sins of the Solar Empire. It's £89 for the Sins of the Solar Empire Ultimate Pack, which is double the price of the game. And again, the expansion packs aren't out for it. And in fact, it's 1 DLC and 1 expansion pack you get for double the cost for Sins.
Yeah. So we didn't buy it.
Yeah, I didn't buy it. I got the base game, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I will buy the expansion pack when it appears. You know, because
if it adds value.
Yeah. Well, it will definitely add value.
Nothing of value has been found.
Nothing of value has been found.
But like to that point, like I wouldn't buy the game and then play it at the link up next year. I can't see that. Like personally, no, not in a million years. Because we didn't play it this year, did we, Vedak?
No, against my very sad. But then I enjoyed Sins. It was great. So,
I mean, as long as GTA 6,
my itch. What?
Yeah, I was going to say, as long as GTA 6 comes out before the next year's link, that's all we're doing.
And let's think about the price of that. That's going to be a £50 game, and probably other packs going all the way up to £100 as well.
I think we're going to see the very first £150 retail game. No back. Yeah. That is just cost. That is base cost. No packs. No nothing.
It won't be. No way.
I don't think it'll be 150, but like whatever price it is, it's got to live up to the hype that GTA.
They have spent
gazillions.
They've spent £2 billion on this game.
That's nearly as much as Vedak has spent on his bedroom.
Yeah, but they've spent $2 billion. If you even calculate how much money that they have got, and they haven't even marketed the game yet. So you think about how much money they still want to spend on it. They've got to charge $100. But you say that they will still have to spend. I reckon it's going to be £150 game, because even if they sell, how many can they? that you can't sell. There's not unlimited
So
amounts
at
of it. You
50
can.
quid, you've got to sell 40 million games to get to your 2 billion. So
But I think that's not unreasonable. If you
I
think
don't think
about
40.
somebody-
I think 40 million is a lot. I don't think it's unreasonable, but
No,
if
that's
obviously,
even selling it. That's without the 30% on Steam fee. That's without retailers'
Yeah.
fees. That's
Yeah.
not even profit. So it's to even do that, you've got like that's £100 game with 50 quid profit to get that money
Well,
back, let alone make money. So
maybe that's
honestly,
maybe that's. I was going to say, yeah, maybe that's something for next week's podcast. Is we look at what's the most expensive base game that's been out and like sort of prices of games, because that price of games from when we used to game in the 90s and early 2000s have just gone like that, hasn't it? Like you used to think like, yeah, $24.99, $29.99, maybe a $35.99 for a game. You'd be like, oh, it's getting a little bit expensive. But now you
But they do. Like, that's the good thing about, especially with Steam, you have to sales and so forth. So after a couple of years, I mean, you can buy Civ 6 with all its expansion packs now for like 20 something quid. 30
Yeah.
quid.
Yeah. But then like to Devastate's point, obviously maybe if it is 150 quid, could we see the first game where it's a subscription? You have to just buy a subscription to it because there's going to be.
they've existed for a long time though.
Oh yeah, they've existed for a long time, but I'm talking from a GTA perspective,
Oh yeah.
because GTA has just been you buy it once. There might be some expansion packs, etc., but we don't know exactly what's going to be in the game, do we? But very much looking forward to GTA 6. Very much looking forward to GTA 6. Moving on, the stock price of one of our very, very big gaming publishers has, should we say, drifted a little in the last couple of years.
Yeah, so Ubisoft have not had a good time recently.
That's because they keep releasing shit games.
What's the shittest game that they've released, Vedak?
Oh, I don't know, but that Star Wars
Outlaws. Yeah.
Crap. And their CEO quoted produced the very first quadruple A game in Skull and Bones, which flopped and
Never heard of it.
It was a £70 base game, £150 DLC jobbing. No one's bought it. It got absolutely panned, terrible. I think probably the only decent success they have slightly had was Valhalla, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. But they didn't keep people on the game long enough. It was people enjoyed it, but that was essentially it. So I want to just talk about what's essentially happened this week. So
isn't that X-Defiant one of theirs as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, and everyone jumped on it, free game, and no one's on it anymore.
Yeah, because we were raving about that at the link up, weren't we? And I generally thought it was a pretty good game, but I can see why you'd get bored of it after a while. And yeah, they're now struggling to get gamers to play it on a regular basis. So I was reading just before we jumped on the podcast that to get people to actually come and play the game, they're giving you in-game fun bucks if you just log in the next couple of weeks. And you're like, I mean, that's barrel scraping stuff there, isn't it? I mean, honestly.
I will say that it couldn't happen to a nicer company. I mean, Ubisoft and EA are responsible for the crap in loot box shite that we have in gaming today. So,
what was the first sort of loot box thing? I'm just trying to think that, like, game wise.
I think what they did is that they saw this market take off.
Yeah, and
essentially saw people microtransacting the hell out of it and went, we could put that in our full game.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think, what game can you think that really kicked off in? That we remember?
Fortnite.
Obviously Fortnite. But what was
that
Fortnite?
Was the
Fortnite
big one.
2015?
That was the biggest loot box. And then
there must have been games with like skins before that, like you could buy skins for characters. Battlefield, yeah.
Battlefield 1 and 5 had it, didn't they?
Yeah, because you could buy the battle packs, couldn't you?
Yeah. I mean, technically, you could have CS:GO. CS:GO had the had it. They've all had it in for a while. I think that
League of Legends,
yeah,
actually.
that
Because
was
you
a
could buy
free
skins.
game, and yeah.
Never spent any money on League of Legends, and I've played it for 12 years.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean that could be again another subject that we can do like a deep dive into. We might make that a feature of the podcast, is do a deep dive like of one particular thing, like the history of loot boxes and stuff like that.
And also releasing full games where they've released the full game, but you have to pay a little bit more to release part of that game that's already in the game.
Yeah.
It's notorious.
It's a cash grab, isn't it? It's an absolute cash grab.
Absolutely shameful behaviour. Well, I'm glad it stopped.
But they will stop it if people don't spend money on it, and people will buy it because of FOMO, because of inherent benefits. So look,
And also, gamers are starting younger. Gamers are starting younger nowadays because, like, my son was playing Minecraft today, and he was like, "Daddy, come and have a look at this. Come and look at this." And he was like, "Look what I bought." And I'm like, "What have you bought?" And he'd gone onto the marketplace and bought a load of the free mods. And obviously, when you go to buy, and then it goes buy for free, and I was like, right, fine, because obviously there's no, he's got no in-game currency, there's no credit card on the account, so he can't actually buy anything. But I was like, right, you can buy if it's free, you can have it. But then I know that eventually he'll realize, oh, so if I want more, if I want some of these other mods, I've got to buy them. But how do you buy them? You got to have the in-game coins. To get the in-game coins, you got to use real money. And eventually he'll get there. It'll clock. And at that point, I'll be like, use your own money, mate. Like,
I mean, when I was working in retail, and obviously that's 4 or 5 years ago, I remember the amount.
100 years ago.
Yeah, the amount of kids coming in saying, "I want to buy." What was it? Is it
V-Bucks?
V-Bucks
for Fortnite.
Oh my! Every day, do
Yeah.
sell V-Bucks? Do sell V-Bucks? That's Fortnite, wasn't it?
Yeah, Fortnite.
Fortnite's not even a good game.
It's okay. But it really pioneered like the genre of loot boxing and skinning, and its way of its commercial deals are something to behold. Again, we'll do a bit of a real deep dive because I don't want to say something without having the correct information. But just rounding up on Ubisoft, so.
What's their stock price gone from and to?
So in 2021, so three years ago,
recent times,
yeah, but not long. They were trading at €82 a share.
It's about 70 quid,
and they're now down to 12.
Solid, some solid shareholder value there.
83% drop in share price.
They haven't had a dilution in that time, I presume.
No,
I don't think so. I don't even recall ever seeing one.
No.
I mean, that's some tragic value for the shareholders.
I think the interesting thing would be to work out exactly how much money's worth that is essentially lost.
Yeah.
But essentially, the shareholders wrote a letter to the board, CEO, and everything, and essentially saying that they have lost faith in the CEO and the management team to deliver value for the shareholders. So I think that they are either going to try and negotiate some sort of buyout, or they are going to sack the C-suite, and they've got to do something bloody different. Because
they can't just go, oh, look, we're going to pull a new game out of the hat, are they? It takes a while to launch a game.
Well, if we
look at what was the game we talked about the other week, which it spent 2 years in development. Concord, that was it. Concord, and then they pulled the plug after 6 weeks. I mean, like, come on, like.
I think 3 years ago, that's probably the height of the loot boxes and so forth. And there is definitely a move away from that, because it is definitely, a lot of companies like Disney put pressure on to remove them from their from EA games, or lose your license and so forth. I wonder if they have started to move away from that, and that is the reason for the share price drop. Because
no one's buying their games. No one is buying their games. They are getting panned by everyone.
Star Wars has been quite a big. It wasn't. I mean, it's not my cup of tea, even though I'm a huge Star Wars fan. But
you like Star Wars?
Yeah, I do that.
Well, it would never guess that. Never guess that.
But
I think
that if the move away from loot boxes is affected their price. It'd be interesting to see if EA's prices dropped and so forth.
No,
Like-
EA are going through the roof.
But like any game, like take loot boxes or any microtransactions out of it, you have to have a solid base game that is appealing, that people want to play, and you don't need additional funds or money in game or out of the world or in real world to actually enjoy it. You go buy your base game, 30, 40, 50 quid, and it's a fantastic game. That's you've got to have that as a base. Then you go, right, okay, look, if you want to buy this, I don't know, pimp skin in GTA 6, whatever, right, fantastic, right, you can go and buy it if you want. You want these guns, etc. You want these cars, yada yada, fine. But you have to have a good base game. And to the point on X Defiant, we were playing it. We thought it was a pretty good game at the link up, didn't we, Devastate? We played quite a lot of it. But now they're really struggling.
If we could have done a really cool private server match, I think it'd have been a quite good game to play.
Yeah, agreed. If they're like 6-on-6, that'd be a really good game. Really good game. Almost takes you back to the Counter-Strike days to a certain extent, doesn't it?
Yeah, or TF2.
Yeah, TF2, similar as well. But yeah, I think you got to have a good base game. Like if you haven't got a good base game, like it doesn't matter how many microtransactions or great loot boxes or battle packs that you've got. You've got to have a good base game that people are going to want to buy, stay on, play regularly, play online with their friends, etc., etc. Otherwise, see you later.
The problem is there are far too many games that are coming out that have been in development for 3, 4, 5 years that are just not good enough. And they have committed to technology, using technology at the time. And because games generally take 5 years to produce a good game now, we've had so many games this year. We've had more bad games come out than we've had good
there
games.
have been dross. Absolute dross.
And I think that is an issue, whereas years ago, you had some games that were in development for 3, 4, 5 years, some games that would be out in 2 years. And if it failed after 2, and you'd be back on the bandwagon. But I think that the way that these big game publishers are swallowing up smaller studios and forcing them to their rigorous timelines, and we saw what happened to Helldivers. Helldivers 2 earlier this year. We've seen the studio that Concord, which was I think Firewood Studios, Sony forced Concord into several different decisions, effectively destroyed their company. And I think that Sony they've got another game coming out in a few months that's going to be under a similar sort of pressure. I think that we've got games that are not good enough for market, that they have cheaped out. They rely on loot boxes to finance it, and that we don't have enough high quality multiplayer games out in the market. I think it's at the moment for a choice. I think we've had the least choice we've ever had for high quality multiplayer games.
Yeah. I mean, look at the games we played at the link up. There wasn't that many, was there, from a multiplayer perspective that we really went that were new to the field, where we were like, yeah, this is really good. Like, I mean, oh dear. Oh dear. That was shocking. But then to the point on Ubisoft, like, imagine like they boot the CEO out, a new CEO comes in and goes, right, I want to build a new game on UE5. I mean, 2029, 2028, easy, like comfortably. Yeah. And what are they going to do for the next 4 years? Just jog along with Rainbow Six and try and push X Defiant?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be surprised. I think Ubisoft, so they also got... So, in fact, let me go and have a look on Ubisoft's website.
Pull up all their games, and then we can
let me get the site. So, again, we go to play. So, these are their 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These are their 10 headline games. Star Wars Outlaws. Assassin's Creed Shadows.
They've always been quite strong.
Yeah, but not that one.
No, not that one. No, that one.
I haven't even heard of it. So
I haven't heard of it. So obviously Valhalla. Assassin's Creed Valhalla was good. They were pretty big.
X Defiant, Anno 117. That's going to be.
What? I say strategy game.
Yeah.
completed it.
I'll have a but just Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora.
I saw it and I thought, looks all right.
Is that? I didn't think that was out yet. Was that?
I saw the trailer for it and I was like, yeah, it looks all right, but I
It is by now. Protect Pandora, first-person action adventure.
This is going off the hype of the Avatar movie, wasn't it? Which wasn't all that.
Then we've got Skull and Bones, which is one of the most colossal failures of marketing I've ever seen in my life.
And play Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, it basically, if they had copied Sea of Thieves, they would have done well. But it was so far behind it.
Who launched Sea of Thieves? What was the publisher?
Microsoft.
Well, Microsoft's publisher. It's I was going to say Take-Two. It's not Take-Two. It's
We played it all the way through for.
Yeah, we played so much of it.
I still watch videos on it today.
Honestly, during lockdown, these two played so much Sea of Thieves, literally
every day.
Every day. Like I'd log on, and I think during lockdown, I was not working, but I was actually out of work, unfortunately. And I'd log on, I'd be like, oh, Devastated Vedak played Sea of Thieves again.
But yeah, it's not even graphically as good as Sea of Thieves. That's the Crew Motorfest.
I've heard of the Crew.
Assassin's Creed Mirage.
No,
and the big game of the year, Just Dance 2024. Another
bin job.
So,
I mean, advertising sounds like. I mean, the fact that we haven't heard half of them, that's obviously if they're not being advertised to the masses.
Oh, it's terrible, isn't it? Like, I spend my time on YouTube and Twitch, and I haven't seen a game trailer. I haven't seen anything in any of the social media. I'm like, what? And that is. I tell you what. You want to know why they're failing? It's because you know what? We might have played it, and even if they'd have got because if they've gone, there's actually 3 games there. That I want to try, you go, oh, okay, well, I might go and do the Ubisoft monthly thing and play all the games and do that for a month.
Outlaws has had a lot of hype, and I think that's obviously why it's number one, isn't it? So because there's been a lot of hype about that.
But Vedak, what was the last game that you saw advertised on anywhere? YouTube, Twitch,
Civ 7.
TV? Where did you see it? Was it an advert for it?
It was just people that I tend to follow on Civ 6 who are being invited to go to Frax's headquarters in.
I don't recall I don't consume a huge amount of I spend a lot of time on YouTube, but I couldn't tell you the last game I saw. Honestly, couldn't tell you the last game I saw advertised.
Well, I mean, the few streams I'm watching, a lot of people are playing Black Myth Wukong at the moment. And the new
but I'm talking advert. I'm talking an advert. You think back in the day when FIFA, I'm thinking about back in the day. Tiger Woods 99. Oh my god, you couldn't walk anywhere without seeing a thing for it.
Civ 7 came when they had adverts coming out on the telly because they had a countdown for the live trailer. So I mean, I came onto my YouTube, came up on my feed to say that in 6 hours the countdown was going to reveal the trailer, and I was like, oh, I'm on for that, and that had thousands of.
What I would say is that obviously EAFC advertises every Saturday and Sunday during during Super Sunday the football, so they actually do the advert spots in that, which completely makes sense.
Yeah.
But
interesting. Well, I think that reaches the top of the hour for the podcast this week, isn't it?
Last couple of weeks we have spoken about FPL, but it's been international break, so we will catch everyone up on FPL. For this time and maybe next week. But it's been a cracking episode, chaps.
Yeah, very good, very good.
Thank you very much for having me again.
No, you can come around anytime, Vedak. Anytime you can join the podcast. Whenever you want, you let us know. You can be on it. But no, thank you all for listening and watching. We really appreciate it. We'd love it if you would subscribe on YouTube and whatever platform you're listening or watching on. If you give us a thumbs up and a like, that would also be most appreciated. But yeah, until next time, I am Beef the Legend.
I have been Devastate, and I'll just simplify very also in. Can you also drop something in the comments to let us know what other topics you might want to let us do a bit of a deep dive into as well?
Yeah,
But
or
yes.
the Reddit. Or the Reddit.
Or the Reddit.
Or the Reddit, and we'll drop a link to that. And I'm not Beef the Legend, I'm the Amazing Sniper Beef. I've got two gaming names. But yeah, I'm the Amazing Sniper Beef, not Beef the Legend. And who's that?
And I am Vedak, the even better sniper.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Right, until next time, guys. Catch you later.
See you later, peeps. Bye.
Bye.